thrush was grown at a particular time of the year along the banks of the Meghna and Shitalokha rivers within a specific area of 40 miles by 3 miles. Although the manufacture of muslin involved the use of simple technology, the process was complex, seasonal and labor-intensive. These precious seeds, held from the previous season and preserved in earthen bowls coated with oil or ghee, were kept warm and dry over a kitchen fire. The thorough cleaning of the cotton was extremely important and always undertaken by women. After the initial cleaning, the cotton, combed with the teeth of the boal fish, would be ginned by a bow-like tool called the dhun or dhunera. Only the lighter fibers would be collected. The fleece was wrapped inside the skin of the kuchia, an eel-like fish, to keep it clean and moist, and then placed in a special covered basket ready for the spinner.
Unfortunately, the strength that Bengal had in spinning has been lost.
Today, some hand spinning is done in India. Jyotish Devnath is a legend, and when I visited his house in Murshidabad, I was able to see the magic in his fingers as he spun yarn of the count that was used in weaving muslin.
এটার উপর অগাধ বিশ্বাস আনতে হবে। যখন একবার পালিশ হবে ওটা 200 কাউন্ট এলো, সেকেন্ড পালিশে 300 কাউন্ট এলো, যার জন্য তো একটা 500 কাউন্টের লেন্থ থানে 12 মিটার বুনতে প্রায় 3 মাস 4 মাস লেগে যায়।
Spinning was generally done by Hindu women. It is said that the finest thread was spun by those women who were between the ages of 18 to 30, using the takwa, a narrow and vertical spindle which has a base of clay at the bottom. The spinning process was so delicate that it had to be done at a particular time of the day, either during the early hours or in the evening, when the humidity in the atmosphere was believed to be better, and to avoid the strong sunlight and heat. To keep their fingers dry, the women would use powdered conch shells with which to rub their fingers. Spinning of the yarn on the boat with the women singing gave rise to legends about mermaids making the thread. Once the thread was spun, the best thread was divided into 2 halves, the warp and the weft. Warp threads would undergo a process called tanahotan, which involved a number of steps, where the yarn was soaked in different kinds of solutions, such as lime juice, soot from the cooking fire, and other organic material. The yarn was then fitted into the shana, a reed with numerous fine teeth, approximately 1,800 teeth concentrated within 36 inches of reed. The weaving of the finest muslins was carried out with the simplest of tools. In the case of plain muslin, a single weaver would sit at the loom, whereas the weaving of Jamdani, the flowered and figured variety of muslin, required 2 weavers who would sit in a pit that was dug into the earth. Spinners and weavers of plain muslin were Hindus, while the weaving of Jamdani, considered to be the most expensive muslin, was done by Muslims. Weaving of muslin required at least around 70% humidity in the air because the moisture prevented the thread from breaking. Sometimes the pit below the weavers was flooded with water, thus leading to another of the many myths associated with muslin, that the fabric was woven underground. The woven cloth was checked for quality and put through various finishing stages. It was sent to the thopa to be steamed, washed and dried on grass. Rifugars were specialists who could remove a single damaged thread from a 10-yard length of cloth and replace that thread with one of similar quality and length. The cloth was finally washed with amrul juice, lime juice and ghee to remove stains and softened with mugur and rice water. Once ironed by istriwalas, the cloth would be folded, rechecked for quality and when approved, placed in a bastabanda, meaning in a bosta or a sack, and band or tied up. Muslin was essentially a brand within which there were a large number of varieties and a multiplicity of names. There were 5 types: Musrin or plain, Duriya or striped, Charkuna or checkered, Rong or coloured, and Jamdani, the flowered and figured muslin. These were categorized into 4 levels of quality, ranging from ordinary to fine superfine, further defined by the thread count, design, weight and sometimes the weaver's location. The finest muslin that was reserved by the Mughals was called malmale khas. Other varieties had names such as abarwan, shabnam, tarandam, tanzeb, and so on. 2 of the forms of embroidery that were extensively practiced were chikankari and zardozi,